What's up, traders? Anthony Crudele here, and welcome to this week's episode of Develop Your Edge. In today's show, I'm going to talk about how I developed statistical edge. I know I talk a lot about mental edge on the show, and I got to thinking last week on the podcast when I was actually on with you and Sinclair. We had a debate. What's more important, trading psychology or statistical edge? He's more of a numbers guy. I'm somebody who believes a little bit more on the trading psychology side of things, the mental edge side of things. And he brought up some great points that I really want to talk about today. You could have the greatest mental edge, but if you don't have some statistical edge, it's going to be a rough journey. I actually used the Tiger Woods example in the show where we talked a lot about how Tiger Woods has the best mental edge in golf, but he also has the best swing. And there's a lot of guys with good swings that don't have Tiger's mental edge, and he actually has a combination of both. And I think that really compares well to traders. When you first begin, you do need to find statistical edge. So I want to show you what I did to find statistical edge, and then also what I do current day to see if I still have edge, do I have to tweak it, and how I compare myself to my strategy. How am I executing it? I always say the best executor of the strategy will outperform any strategy. That's coming from a discretionary trader, so know where I'm coming from. But let's go to the charts. I think it's a little bit easier to explain here. Now, in my previous shows, I've talked a lot about Bollinger Bands. Actually, you can go back to the first episode of Develop Your Edge, where I really explain in detail my strategy. But I'm going to go over it quickly here for you today. And most of you know, if you watch the show, I talk about how when Bollinger Bands are expanding, whichever direction they're going in, I'm not fading it. I'm going with that direction until the Bollinger Bands start to come back in, like we could see right here. I pulled up a NASDAQ 60-minute chart on TradeStation. And then once that happens, it's easier for me to manage my risk, and I could trade the market in both directions. In this particular example, we have the NASDAQ on the 60-minute. I pulled up the NASDAQ on the 60-minute because I've been trading off of this chart a lot lately. With my swing position's been talking about that a lot in the show. And this light blue, okay, would signify to me a level of support. Now, you understand how my indicator works with these levels of support and resistance. The peaks are support and resistance. Then you have my 30% line, my 50% line, and my 70% line. So this, on a down move, light blue, these are my two levels of support. Orange is my neutral. That's my first area of risk off. Take off half the position. In some cases, I'll take off the full position. And then this level of pink is going to be my first area of resistance. Cover it there. And then you leave trailers for the bigger target up top, the second pink area. And then it goes vice versa if we got a short signal. And then, orange is always first area to cover. Light blue and the other light blue would be areas to cover your trailers. Now, that's how the indicator works. So what did I do to see if I actually had statistical edge with this? I created a strategy of my favorite setup with this exact look. So what is that? That is Bollinger Bands are expanding. They come in. We get a new light blue. And the automated strategy part of it can't see how it reacts like I would as a trader. So what I did was buy at light blue when I automated this strategy. Stop is 50% between light blue and the other light blue, so right in there, which gives you roughly 1-to-1-ish on orange. That would be my first target. And then my second target would be pink. And my stop would stay right there the whole time. I never moved the stop because for me, how I would trade this, you could use this on any time frame. 60 minutes pretty wide to trail a stop. I still do it the same way, but I would leave my stop there because this trade is not wrong until that stop is hit. If it gets above pink, which I didn't put in the automated strategy, then I might start to put some trailers in. But this is where the discretionary aspect comes in. But for this example today specifically, I programmed my strategy to show me buy at light blue, sell at orange, sell at pink. 2 contracts. Now, why did I do this? Because I'm actually not using this as an automated strategy. I'm doing it to see how the strategy is actually performing. I could go back as long as I want, and TradeStation will show me how well this specific trade has done. So this is what I call my money trade, my favorite look. And I could put all sorts of different things within this to tweak this look. But once again, for this example, I'm keeping it very simple and saying, buy it light blue, sell it orange, sell it pink. That's my stop, 50% between the light blues. Because in general, that is where I initially found my edge, and I actually was able to go back and back test just that look to see how it would do. Now, like I said, I'm not trading it. So why would I do that? And it really is to see how I am executing my strategy, and am I executing it better than the automation would be? Because I've said a bunch of times before, if your strategy is so good, then just automate it. What do you need to sit there and point and click for? But over the years, I have found that my strategy will generate good results, but I will generate better results. So what do I do on a regular basis? I compare how I'm trading against that one setup, because there's also other setups that I'll trade using these support and resistance lines, but how am I trading against that one setup? So let's go to the chart and let's pull up. What I'll do is I'll drop down my studies here and I'll go to edit strategies, and you can see right here, and I'll take status on, and it's my beacon strategy. It's one of many I've created, okay? And it says buy 2 here, profit 1, profit 2. Okay, so you can see this is exactly what I was talking about. If it gets a light blue or a pink, it doesn't matter. Right when those Bollinger Bands close, target 1, target 2. Now, we could see this, and for a long time, I used to keep this up just to look at it to confirm what I was looking at. And like I said, you can put this on any time frame. But what gets really interesting here on TradeStation is I'll go up to data now, and I'll go to my strategy performance report. Now, what does this do for me? Now, it's always going to depend on how much data you have pulled up. So I have 5 days of data up. Typically is the most I keep up, because I only am going to look back how I traded the previous week. So as you can see, this is just showing 5 days of data, and it's just showing one trade. It was one long trade. There was no short trade. So it shows you what the trade would have generated with 2 contracts in the NASDAQ. And it shows a P&L. Once again, why would I look at this? Because going back the past 5 days, if I was trading strictly off that 60-minute chart, did I outperform my favorite look, or did I underperform it? So going back to at the beginning, I said showing you how I had statistical edge. Well, this over time, and I backtested this so many times, it's crazy, works greater than 50% of the time. And as I said, me as a trader, as the executor of it, I have been able to generate better results than just by automating this look. But I want to see it to see how I am performing against it. Number one, it shows me if I have statistical edge. So this is why I highly recommend, if you have a strategy or an indicator that you want to turn into a strategy, do this so you can actually see if it's giving you some sort of edge. And then also, if you're going to point and click like I am, you could go back and say, okay, here was your favorite setup, Anthony. How is it done? And as you can see here, it generated X amount. So I'll look at my week and say, was I trading good enough to be able to, was I trading better than that or worse than that? And a lot of you know, if you follow me on social media, the last couple of weeks, I've been in a drawdown. And it's not just, this is one aspect of what I've been trading. I've been trading several markets. I've got intraday trading the S&P. I've got swing trading the NASDAQ and gold. So it's a cumulative effort. But I like to see this because it tells me where I'm really at. You know, I think going back to that conversation I had with you and Sinclair, and the reason why I'm doing this show today is because we talked about trading psychology compared to statistical edge. First, you need to find that you have statistical edge. Then I think you get better at execution. I think you work more on your mindset to become the best executor you can. If the discretionary approach isn't for you, at least you have something to compare, right? At least you know where you're really at. Now, if you are outperforming it over time, then you're working on that psychology, working more on the execution of it. And I think that's extremely important. I don't think you could just go into trading and say, okay, I'm just going to only work on my trading psychology. It doesn't really work that way. You need something to trade off of. And that's why I really want to emphasize today that if you have an indicator that you like, find your favorite setup, go through, get it programmed, see if you truly do have statistical edge. And you don't need to automate it. Like I said, I don't run this automation. I do it to check and see how I'm doing. And like I said, I could tweak this and put this on any time frame I want to see how I'm trading. And that to me is so important. So remember, it's not just about having good mental edge, good trading psychology. You do need to have a combo of both. But once you found that you have some statistical edge, you could do some things to see where you really stand in your strategy. Hang tight, traders. I'll be right back with my final thoughts.
24/7 access to diverse global markets. Right here.
That's why I added stock index futures to my trading strategy. Now when I see ups and downs coming, I'm ready.
Well played.
Why trade with TradeStation? It's innovative, easy to use, and totally freaking sweet. With powerful tools to track and execute your trades and low per trade commissions on stocks, futures, and options. Upgrade your trade at TradeStation.com.
Final thoughts for today, traders. This show is called Develop Your Edge, and it's really about constantly working at your edge. And to me, balance is so important. That word carries over from balancing mindset to execution to statistical edge. It's having the whole package. I firmly believe in order to be successful in trading, you do need to have the entire package and you need to work at every aspect of it. That's why today I wanted to show you just something that I do to be able to determine whether or not I am executing up to my, what I called money setup, my favorite setup. And it was simple as programming it, seeing how it's trading. Am I outperforming it? Am I underperforming it? It's important to always know where you are as a trader because sometimes we could get clouded and say, we think we are somewhere, but we're really not. And I'll actually go back and talk about myself and say over the last couple of weeks, I was going over my favorite setups and I was trading multiple markets, like I mentioned, and I was underperforming them. And I'm looking at it going, what are you doing? It got me refocused. I said, look at how good this NASDAQ setup, look at how this S&P setup was. Look at how this gold setup was. Actually, it was a loser, but that's a different story. But ultimately, the point was I was able to go back and see where I really was. And that helped me because it brought me to where I really was, not thinking I was not where I truly was. It's very important to always be honest with yourself as traders. Now, before I let you go this week, I know we get a lot of new futures traders watching this show. And the question I always get is, where can I go to learn more? Of course, you could always go to anthonycrudele.com. I've got a bunch of stuff on there for you new traders, but activetrader.cmegroup.com has really done a great job at putting a whole bunch of stuff on here. And as you can see right at the top, micro E-mini options have arrived. To learn more about products and everything going on at CME Group, go to activetrader.cmegroup.com. Now remember, traders, if you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. You can also follow me on Twitter at Anthony Crudele. And don't forget to check out Instagram, Anthony C. Crudele. That's a wrap for today. See you next week.